we have finished the bevel. You can see looks pretty clean. The file left a little bit, some marks on here, but they're pretty smooth, and really it's just aesthetic after this. But now I do want to put a paracord handle wrap on this, and if I were to just wrap this with paracord, obviously it would just fall off. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to drill a hole up here toward the front of the handle, and then I'm going to drill another hole here toward the back of the handle, and then I'm going to take the grinder and I'm going to cut a slot between those two holes. So later when we get done heat treating and everything, I'm going to come back through and I'm going to put paracord through this slot in the middle to make a paracord handle that'll stay on there, and then here at the end I'll just kind of whip it around the outside of this hole. So hopefully that'll work out well. I don't really usually do paracord handles, but in my mind it works, so we'll see. But anyway, this is where the spring-loaded center punch comes in. Again, if you want to put some kind of a wood handle or something on here, get the Blade Master course, and I talk about that more there. But really we're just putting the kind of most basic type of handle on this guy. So I like the spring-loaded punches because really it's simple. You just get it where you want it, push down a couple of times. That's going to leave like a little dent there, and that's where my drill bit's going to start. If you don't punch it with something, even if you use a manual punch, you got to punch it with something, otherwise that drill bit's going to want to slide around on the metal, and even if it does eventually drill in, it may not drill in the spot that you really want it to. So this one I'm going to put right here. Okay. And I didn't talk about this in the tools section, but in order to do this, I'm going to use couple of tools that I didn't talk about, a couple of little clamps to clamp this knife down while I drill it, and also a drill. So if you want to drill holes, you need a drill. It's not 100% required for this knife, but you might need that tool if you don't have one already. But most people who are handy have a drill lying around. So when you're drilling metal, one of the key things is actually going slow. If you try and drill it too fast with too high RPMs, then what it's going to do is heat up the metal and potentially heat treat the metal in that one spot. And I've had this happen to me before, and it's a real bummer because, you know, the drill bit stops going in, and then eventually I've actually had the drill bits just melt. And once that happens, you're not really going to get a drill bit through the steel. So you know, while the steel is soft, slow RPMs, try and keep it straight up and down, and just steady pressure, and let the drill bit do the cutting versus trying to force it through. Okay, I'm going to use a little bit smaller drill bit up toward the front. There you go. As long as the paracord goes through there, it can go through the slot, you know. Alright, so I've got a couple of holes drilled here. They're not in this one's not in the center, but doesn't really matter. Again, this is just going to be wrapped with paracord, so you're really not going to see these holes if this works out like I want it to work out. So now I'm going to cut like a kerf all the way through and connect these two holes, and then I'll have like a way to get in there with the paracord. So when I wrap the paracord, I'm going to wrap it through and then back and then through and back and through again, so that it won't slide off. All the paracord is going to be kind of jammed up against this front part, and it's going to keep itself on, and then it's going to be just like I said, like looped around at the back here. All right. So we need to put it back in the vise. Now that the knife is pretty close to done, I really want to be careful not to bend it, you know. And then this front edge is really sharp now, so it could really bend really easily. In fact, I probably should have done this handle part before I cut the bevel, just to prevent it from getting messed up. So, but I'm going to put this wood in here, and I'm going to do my best to keep it from getting dinged up in this file. I mean, in the vise, sorry. Okay, great. What you want to do is just clamp it in the vise, and we want to clamp it as far as we can so that it doesn't wobble too much. Okay, and then we're just going to take our file. I'm going to put my glove on real quick. We're just going to take our file, and we're going to just start working that same bevel that we were just working with the grinder.